All right, we will start the session, and in the meanwhile, if everybody, no more people would want to join, they can very well do that. So you must have seen my video, and if not, let me introduce myself first. My name is Tamizh, and I worked as an IB educator for around 7 years in Oakridge International School in Bangalore. I started as a PYP ICT teacher, and then I gradually progressed to becoming the tech coordinator of my school, and then I started teaching MYP for 3 years. So I'm here to share some of the tech tools that I have used in my classroom because I love technology, and I love to see how tech can be integrated across disciplines. And today the topic is going to be ATL skills. Let me just close all these windows and quickly start. I hope this is okay with the pace and everything. Can we start? Is everybody fine?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll take breaks in between so that I can just check on what's happening, and we can discuss a few things as we progress. All right, let's do this. So ATL skills, can anybody just quickly give me a definition of what do you think about ATL skills if you already know about it? And if not, it's fine. We can start with the basics. If anybody is interested, please do let us know what you think about ATL skills, or what does that sound to you? ATL skills. Have you heard of this before? Okay. Right. So ATL skills are nothing but approaches to learning skills. So to learn something new, you need certain skills. You have to be equipped with certain skills, and that makes you proficient in whatever you learn, and it makes you achieve something great in that particular area. So in IB, we look at ATL skills as the foundation for learning anything. So if a student is equipped with ATL skills, and if it is developed incrementally, because it's not just that one-time thing, it needs to be developed over and over, and they'll be able to be very independent in their learning and also be able to work in groups. They'll be able to manage the resources, the time. So it's like a holistic development that they are imbibing, and it's going to be with them throughout their life. So in order to build these ATL skills, we constantly try to integrate it in all our lessons explicitly as educators. We just don't document it for the sake of documenting and say, if you do this activity, just apply this skill. No, we make the students understand how the skill is related to the activity. And once the engagement is over, they also reflect and see, okay, so this is the skill that I've used. I could have done better, or I should improve on this particular skill in the days to come. Sorry. So this is something that we are going to discuss today, and we're also going to talk about a lot of tools that I have used in my class. I'm going to show you a lot of student work, and I've linked or mapped all the tools with the corresponding ATL skills and the sub skills. I'll be sharing this PPT link with all of you so that you can click and see and go to that particular site and see how that tool works once the session is done. Now, IB classifies ATL skills into, ATL skills are generally classified into 5 different types. One is communication, social, research, self-management, and thinking. And they have sub-skills, they have clusters. So when you say communication, it can happen through just interaction. It could be verbal or non-verbal communication, exchange of thoughts. And the other one is the language part. What kind of language skills should I develop in order to be able to communicate effectively? So when we talk about language, you obviously have to know about the reading and writing skills that come along with it, right? And when it comes to social skills, how am I able to work in a team? Am I able to be a team player? Or am I having a lot of conflicts that I need to resolve? What are my challenges and weaknesses and strengths when it comes to working as a group? And research skills, very, very important. How am I able to process the information that's around me? Internet is like a vast ocean of information. How am I able to process that? Am I able to extract information from primary resources and secondary resources, be it newspaper, videos, televisions, radio, different types of media is available around me. So when I know how to hone, or when I know how to handle the media content that I'm having with me, then I become a person who has enough media literacy. So that is why we classify research into 2 types, information literacy and then the media literacy. Then comes the self. Very important, because even as adults, we struggle at, in certain areas to have those skills. So the self-management skills are categorized into 3: affective, organization, and reflection. So when I say affective, it's all about my individual personality, my mind-body coordination, my mindfulness. How am I really keeping myself organized, and how am I able to manage my thought flow? How am I being able to be mindful and take care of myself? Because only if I am having a sound body and sound mind, I can perform well in whatever task I take up. And then the organization skills, very important. We started from our own house. We say clean your desk, clean your cupboards, organize your stationaries properly. So it's going to be a skill that I need to have throughout my life. And when it comes to academics, it's even more crucial. Then comes to reflection. One is the student reflect on the ATL skills, or completely through reflection skill, and also they see what mistake they had made or what they have done better. They learn to get constructive feedback and take criticisms in a good way and work on those feedback that is given to them. And then thinking, very, very important. Critical thinking. How am I able to analyze a certain piece of information in different perspectives? Am I accepting multiple perspectives, or am I being very rigid in terms of changing my line of thought? And then the creative thinking. How can I bring up, come up with creative ideas for different problems? How can I create those solutions? Then the transfer skills. This is my favorite, because you don't keep the knowledge and skill you learn in a different discipline as pockets. You take the knowledge from here and then you put it in another subject. That's when it becomes really, a knowledge that can be applied across disciplines, a multidisciplinary learning. So we help students understand how to apply the subject knowledge taken from one particular discipline and apply it in whatever project or subject they learn in their life. So these are the overview of ATL skills. We have spoken about the types of ATL skills and the clusters. Now, I think I've done a lot of talking. Let's do a little activity. I'm going to project my screen. Excuse me. So I'm using a tool called Mentimeter here. All right. I'm going to ask 3 questions to all of you. So you can see over here, let me just copy the link. Or you can also directly go to this www.menti.com and then use this code to log in. I will also put it in the chat window so that everybody can access the link. So I have asked one question here, which is list down a few skills that define thinking according to you. In order to be able to become a great thinker, what kind of skills should I possess or an individual possess? Any 3 things. You'll be able to enter 3 options in the portal that opens in front of you. So quickly, please go to this link, or you can type this and enter the code and start answering this question. If there is any doubt, please feel free to unmute and talk to me. I'm getting the answers. So cool. All right. Yes, research is important. Critical, creative thinking. Good to know that you guys have understood the sub skills and are able to project it over here. Very nice. And then you have another answer now, another question over here. I hope you're able to answer that. Which of the following sub skill is related to communication? There are 3 options. I want you guys to select the best option, whichever you think is the right. We're still going to dive deep into this, but then for now, which you have 3 options in front of you: connect media resources, structure and organize information, apply skills and knowledge. Which of these do you think is closely related to the communication ATL skill? Structure and organize information. Yes, nice. Okay. If anybody is not able to attempt the quiz, please let me know, because I think I'm getting 3 responses. I have pasted the link of the the quiz in the chat window, or you can also go to the site and type the number. That's perfect. Another question is, okay, I'm getting a lot of players joining for this question. Just playing a little music in the background, because there's an option where you can, when you're conducting quiz in the class, you can have this option playing and you can have it like a fun-filled activity. What are the essential skills needed for media literacy? I think this is a text-based question, so you just have to type anything that you think is related to this. The essential skills needed to excel in the media literacy. What do you think are the essential skills? And there's a countdown. Oh, probably I think I should have increased the countdown. That's okay. Oh, I got one. All right. I sorry. So basically, this is a very nice tool, which can be used as a formative assessment tool or an icebreaker tool with the students. It's not a free software, but then it allows you to create like 3 slides. And once you create it, and then you get the responses, you can download it, delete that, and then create another one. Because as a teacher, I find it very difficult to find sometimes tools that are having really good features, but then you have to pay for certain features, so you have to think out of the box and do something different so that you can keep using the tool. So Mentimeter is a wonderful tool. You can note it down or bookmark this site somewhere. Do try it out when you're free. You just have to sign up through your Google account and create an account on Mentimeter, and you can conduct quiz, word clouds, image based multiple choice questions, rating scale based answers, many more things. Very cool things are available on this platform. So I just always use it during my PD sessions because it's hassle free and easy to use. So this is how it is. You can see the maximum number of answers being organized in the form of small dots over here. And then this is text-based answer question. All the answers will appear here and the participant will be able to see the answers. All right, I'm very happy that we have understood what the session is going to be like, and we have some amount of prior knowledge on this. Are we good? Can we proceed further?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Okay, so what's going to happen now is we're going to take a deeper look at the different ATL skills. But before that, since I have taught design, let me just quickly give you a glimpse of what is design. Design is a subject which is a combination of art, computer science, ICT, and science. So let's say I have a problem. I don't have a chair at my home, but I want to sit on a chair. So my problem is that I want a comfortable furniture to sit on. But then I need to have certain expectations and specification to design a chair, because I need to have it in this color, in this shape, this size, to suit my body style. So I need somebody to design a solution and give me the product. This is in a nutshell design. Design is nothing but helping learners understand that there are problems around the world, and we are responsible enough to create human-centered solutions for those problems. And we need to appreciate the design that is around us in a historical and in a contemporary context, which means every single invention that we see around us is a solution to some problem, right? So design is the core of coming up with a inventive, interesting solution for the problem that people might have. But then with children, it's very difficult to tell them to just design a solution. They really need to have a process. There will be different phases of learning that will be happening. So we have something called as a design cycle, just like an inquiry cycle. So in the first phase, what we do is we identify what is the problem that the user is facing and ask designers how to solve that problem. So we interact a lot with the user, brainstorm, make mind maps, concept maps, and try to understand the problem first. Then we develop ideas, like how can this problem be solved? Now, if I have this water bottle with me, this design would not have been the first design that the creator of this water bottle had. He must have had multiple different sketches, ideas, and then he must have arrived at this after interacting with the client or customer, and then the design would have been a success. So they come up with multiple ideas. They do the ideation in this particular stage, and then creating the solution. Once they choose that one good optimum solution, they start making it. And for that, they need time, resources, raw materials, expert advice, a lot of learning, knowledge gaining is all required to create the solution. And finally, evaluating. Well, my product is here, but do people really like my product? Is it a success or a failure? What should I have done differently? So if my product fails the test, then I have to go back and rework. It's not like you're reinventing the wheel, but then it's a good way to go back and see what mistakes or what changes I need to make. This is something even that we do in life, right? If you make a decision, it goes wrong, then you go back and then you do a little bit of reverse engineering and think what could have been done differently. So that's the same thing that's happening in design. And the examples that I'll be showing you will be mostly related to design, which is why I'm giving you this heads up so that you understand what subject I'm talking about. All right. So these are the main skills. And when it comes to design subject, this is how we map it. For each subject, the ATL skills can be considered in a different way. Let's say thinking skills. Since I'm a design teacher, for me, I want students to understand existing products properly. If I'm going to make a water bottle, first I have to look at the existing water bottle and see what are the features of this bottle, what is good and what is bad. So that is when I'm critically thinking and analyzing this product. And then I have social skills where I go and interview a lot of people or one person. For example, if I'm making a bottle for a school student, I need to go and talk about that, talk to that student and understand what he or she exactly wants in that water bottle. Communication skills. I told you about making these sketches, right? I make drawings, I give it to my client, and I choose them, ask them to choose the best design. And when I'm giving the design, I need to draw very carefully, mark the parts, annotate the diagram carefully. If that person is not able to understand even my sketch, the design sketches, then that's like a big red flag, right? I have to be very clear in presenting the ideas. And when it comes to design, we focus more on helping them create designs, detailed drawings, both on paper and on online tools very, very clearly. Self-management skills. When you create a solution, it doesn't happen in one night. You have to plan it properly. On this day, I'll go and get the resources. On this day, I'll sit and finish the first phase. On this day, I'll see if there is any changes that I need to make. On this day, I'll do the decorative aesthetics part of the product. So the students will have to break down the process, create a timeline or a schedule for themselves, and that's how they show the self-management skills. Research skills. They learn a lot. They are always attached to the internet, to the books, to newspapers. How are they able to get information related to the product that they are making? Like which product is like the most selling in the market? What kind of bottles will quickly get me more customers? So that kind of research skills are also needed while making a solution. And mostly the two main skills demonstrated in design subject is thinking and communication. And when it comes to thinking, it's critical thinking. And for communication, we focus a lot on information literacy. Now, I have one question. Can any one of you map your subject with any of these skills and tell me how you can connect with any activity or engagement that you've already done in your class? Anybody?
So we had this theme on how we organize ourselves. Under that, we had this transportation. So in the summative, we opted for the thinking skills and the research skills, where they had to design a future vehicle.
Wow. Okay.
And design a future vehicle pertaining to the SDG goals, taking care of the environment, and what are the special features would you want in your the future vehicle which you are designing. So there we took thinking skills, and there we also took research skills, and as they had to make a presentation, we went for communication skills as well.
That's brilliant. Which grade is this?
Grade 1.
Oh my God, that's awesome. And I think connecting it with SDG is like the best thing, right? Because
in our planner, there is a column where all the planners had to be mapped with the SDG. So there we took infrastructures of the city, transport and infrastructure of the city.
That's wonderful. That's a brilliant example of integrating thinking skills and communication skills also, right?
Yeah, because as they had to present it, we went for communication skills as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. Is anyone else also willing to share what they have? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Puneet and I'm a math teacher for MYP 7th grade.
Yes.
Yeah, so last week I have taken one activity learning engagement that is called Magic Square in math.
Okay.
So that magic square means they will have to make a Sudoku by 3 by 3 square.
Okay.
Where the kids will have to learn about arranging the numbers from 1 to 9 in order, so that the rows and the columns and the diagonally will be same, some will be same. So I believe that the thinking, critical thinking will work here.
Absolutely. That's a wonderful thing, because sometimes we also ask the students to create challenging problems in math. Gone are the days where we just solve problems, and now we ask students to create a new problem with the knowledge that they have. And I think that's a wonderful technique. And when you make it a time-bound activity, you can also say it's a self-management skill, right? Because you're finishing it within the given time, managing your time.
Yes.
That's a great engagement. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I would like to share one.
Yes, please.
So it's I take kindergarten, and the most simplest example. This is so we're doing addition. And after we didn't introduce them because they were at a stage where they were challenging us.
Right.
So after a few sessions down the line, what we did was we asked them, okay, now since you know what is addition, why don't you design your own problems?
Right.
And you challenge your friends.
It's very nice. How did that go? Like, was it like a team of 2 or 3?
No. So it was a group of 12. So we are 2 in a class.
Okay.
So
okay.
12, it's 12:1. So each one gets a turn to give one problem to them, and the rest all need to write it down, and they solve it and they give out the answer. And the one who is given the problem, then he says, okay, yes, you're right. So this involved a lot of thinking skill for a 5-year-old to come up with a problem for others. And one thing is we give them a number limit that you can't go beyond 10. So for them to choose 2 numbers, it was quite challenging, but I think they did a good job.
Wonderful. That's really amazing. See, that's the thing. We sometimes underestimate the capacity of learners, right? Irrespective of the age, they can just learn anything if we have, if we are choosing the right model of inquiry, and if we are really, designing the classroom engagement in a certain way. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Good morning. I'm Shwetali here.
Yes,
I'm a CAS coordinator, and I would like to share one experience here.
Yes,
I gave my students a project, CAS project under CAS creativity.
Right.
So the project was motivational rap song, creating a motivational rap song. And all CAS projects are like mostly group projects where they are like collaborating. So here critical thinking was very essential, because the song was like they created the song on their own. Within the team, they found, like, with thinking, creative planning, who is good with writing, who is good with composing, who can work with, like, the technical tools. And this is how they have composed this complete song. So there was a lot of creative thinking was involved, and of course communication too, because it was a collaborative project.
Yes, absolutely. I think we can pretty much map all of the skills to that activity. And that's very ambitious and very well thought through. Thank you so much for sharing. I think for UIP exhibition, we did something similar in our school, and they just came up with the best rap sequences ever. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. Right. So let's quickly move on to the first skill, which is thinking skill. Like I said, each ATL skill has a cluster, has a sub-skill. So thinking skill has 2 types, which is critical and creative, and transfer skill, 3 types. So in the first one, we talk about analyzing and evaluating issues and ideas. Very, very simple. If it comes to critical things, it's all about analysis, synthesis, and evaluation of the information that I have. So in my PPT, what I've done is I've taken the key factors that come under this particular skill, and I have mapped certain ICT tools to that particular strand of ATL. So let's say analyzing and synthesis of complex concepts. How am I able to take a big concept? Sometimes the topic itself would be too much. The first minute you saw it, and then you'd be like, no, it's not for me. But then that is not a right way towards learning more about that topic. So I need to really sit down and see how I can break down that complex concept into certain smaller units, and then take one step at a time, and then reach the bigger idea over there. And then how am I able to analyze and evaluate resources? This is very important, because sometimes students find it very difficult to document what they are seeing and learning online. They just don't know how to take notes, to be very frank. Not all of them, but a few of them really struggle at note taking, note making, or recording the information. So these are the tools that I have personally used, and I found them very effective. So what I've done is I've just mapped that tool to that particular sub-strand over here. So many of you must have used BrainPop. This is a very good tool for both primary and middle year students. It's a paid software and some resources are free. So if you can talk to your management, first of all, use and see how it's nice and can suit your lessons, and you can purchase it and use it for the whole year. So the beauty of the lessons on BrainPop is that there is a video with subtitles, and it also comes with additional activities like this. So you watch the movie, you attempt a quiz, you take a challenge task, you make a mind map, you make a movie, you can also code and come up with an interesting project. You can have some supplementary resources that you can refer to. Worksheets are there, graphic organizer, vocabulary games. So all this is attached to that one particular topic. So I have, being a computer teacher, I do find lessons for my subject. And if teachers really want me to look for some other subjects, I do help them find it through this software. It's very easy to use, hassle-free. So this is one software you can try and use. Don't worry about the links over here. I'm going to share this PPT by the end of the session. So it's all going to be interlinked. All you need to do is just click and open it, and I'll keep it available forever for all of you to refer to. And another one thing is the gather and formulate part. How do you gather? First of all, I gathered information, but how am I going to formulate and organize it properly? What are the different techniques I can use to present and visualize my information clearly so that I'm able to understand it first before I present it to somebody else? So graphic designer, one solution to all problems kind of a take over here. So this is my personal favorite document, which I've also linked. So this is a this is a PDF file which has a list of different graphic designers, graphic organizers, with an explanation as to what is that graphic organizer used for, an example, how is that used in a certain lesson or in a certain topic. And then you can also have these templates over here. First explain. So what I do usually in my classes, I explain why this graphic organizer is used. What are they supposed to do in the different empty spaces over here? Why are they doing it? Because if they don't know the purpose, they will really not do it. They're really not into it. So they always want to know, why are we doing it? So the why part is very, very crucial and essential here. So you can look at a lot of interesting mind maps and diagrams over here, and you can ask students to create something on their own based on the content that you give. So this gives a structure for their thought, to put it in simple words. And then you have trends and forecasting. That's an important part of this particular critical thinking skills. So when it comes to trend, what comes to your mind first? If I say trending or trend, anyone who has not answered or interacted? Just take a guess. If I say trending or trend, what comes to your mind?
It's news type.
News type, yeah? Something that's like heavily talked about.
Something which is too viral now. It is
viral
now.
Yes. And if you go to Twitter, you see these topics trending, right? Because something happens, immediately people start tweeting about it. So it's always important for students to know what are the trends that are happening around the world. And since it's a very, very advanced topic for especially primary students, I find Google Trends a wonderful tool to help them understand and know how to analyze a trend. So for example, in Google Trends, what happens is you can search a certain topic. For example, let's say soccer. So once you start keying a word, putting a word over here, automatically you can see the trends for that particular term based on the Google search, because Google takes data only from the Google search. You can also filter it country-wise, worldwide. You can also adjust the timeline over here, past 12 months or 30 days. And you also have these categories, under which category did people really search for it, and what kind of search: web search, image, news, Google shopping, YouTube search. So this gives you a visual representation of how a certain topic has trended over a period of time. You can also look at it region wise. You can also connect it with another trend. You can have multiple topics together and then see if they're all searched together or not. So you can establish connection between that one concept and the other concept. So Google Trend is a wonderful tool. I think it depends on the subject. I have not used it much, but teachers who do math or who talk about social studies, in which they talk about something that's like the topic of discussion all over the world, So trends can be really, really useful when it comes to this. And it's also a part of this ATL skill. Troubleshooting techniques are very important because you need students to know how to solve problems from a very early age. And coding is something that is essential for anyone, even as teachers in my school. They were not very comfortable to do coding. So what we did was, as a fun activity after school, when we have these PD sessions, we used to give them these challenges. And this site called rofcode.com is a great site. It has games, gamified ecosystem of coding, where students play a game and then learn how to code simultaneously, so that it's not like they're typing lines and lines of code and then you just hate it at the end of the session. So this is a great, great portal. You can experiment this whenever you have time, and whichever activity is nice, that can be given to the students, can be also filtered as per the grades that they are studying, and also the beginner to comfortable mode. So this is a great way to understand how to troubleshoot a problem. So if I'm not getting the output, if there is a problem, if there is a glitch in the code, how am I able to solve it? The beauty of all these things is that there is a hint that comes with the challenges. So it's not that the student is helpless over there. There's always a hint, so that they, it just holds their hand and it takes them towards reaching that end goal. So for troubleshooting skills, you really can use this particular portal called R of Code, and evaluating a variety of solutions.
This is what is the name of that site?
R of Code. R of Code.
And is it a paid one?
It's a free one. That's the beauty of R of Code. So there is a site called code.org. They are doing it completely free of cost for the students all over the world, because their aim and their objective is to ensure that everybody learns how to code. That's a basic skill that everybody needs. And they even got all the big shots like Bill Gates and Will.i.am and everybody coming and talking about how they have used this portal to learn coding, because it's a basic skill, like how you know how to read a map, right? It's a technical skill. So you can use
is it for HRTs also?
Anybody can use it because it's integrated. It's any subject teacher can use it. It's not only pertaining to ICT.
Can you just type in the chat box the name of the site?
Sure. I will be sharing this PPT with all of you, no worries, but let me just quickly put it.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
And is it good for
Is this
NYP?
R of Code applicable for senior kindergarten?
Yes, madam. Yes, till 9th, 10th grade it's applicable. And in fact, a lot of my 11th and 12th grade students also tried, they love to come back here and quickly do a small challenge, and then they feel so great. Because the visuals, the way they have designed this whole platform is very nice. It's not boring. It gives a lot of interesting challenges to students. Let me just quickly share that site on the chat window, so that you can also take a look at it. I'm putting it over here in the chat box. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So there's this ATL skill. It's called evaluating a variety of solutions. Like I said, there is not a single solution for a problem. There can be multiple solutions. So if you want to make students understand this particular skill, I have linked a famous experiment done by the Stanford Design School. Stanford Design School is like the precursor to the whole design thinking. Like I showed the design cycle in the beginning, they developed it even before that. And they, made that primary outline of the design cycle, and they did a lot of experiments with learners. So this is a project called Wallet Project. In a nutshell, I'm going to make a wallet for my user, and I want to make it the best wallet, and I have to get 100 by 100 from my user so that he or she is feeling comfortable to use my wallet. But it's not a simple task. There are a lot of activities that come in this little experiment. First, I need to design the wallet. Then I have to go and show it to my user. Usually we think about the product and we forget the user, right? Sometimes we forget what problem that user is going through. So this project makes them understand how to empathize with the person who's facing the problem. So if I have to make a chair, I can't just think of the chair's color, the chair's dimension, all of that. I need to really understand, why is the user asking that color? Why is the user asking that shape and size? So more connection with the user, and then think about the product. Don't think about the product first and then ignore the user. That's the wrong way of designing solutions. So only then you can come up with multiple solutions and convince that, sorry, I am hearing a little noise. I hope everything is fine. So this is a little experiment, and this is a template that I'm attaching to that link, which will help students understand that there is no one problem, one solution scenario. One problem can have multiple solutions, and whichever solution is comfortable, I can go with that solution. So it's a very good activity that you can do. Here are some of my student works. As you can see, sorry, I forgot this. Models and simulation is another strand in this particular thinking skill. So if you want the students to try out online experiments, sometimes it's always difficult to get tangible resources in the class. You know, to make a model, you have to need a lot of time and planning and effort, sit, stick it or join things together. It's a little bit of hassle, not always, but at some time. But then there are also digital tools like TinyBob. TinyBob is an app platform. So if you go to the App Store, you can download these apps. They do come with a cost. So I think you need to pay that particular money, and then you can download the set of apps that they have. So they have handpicked best topics that can be taught to students. Quality is really, really amazing because there's video, there's also interactive stuff. Students can, for example, build a forest. There are different types of forests like tundra and taiga and tropical and deciduous. So they can really, really build those kind of forests by adjusting the temperature, adding the right kind of animals in the ecosystem. And each and every app comes with a handbook. That's another thing. It tells you how to use that particular app and what are the follow-up activities that you can do. It's a paid software, but if you purchase it, it's really good. It's called TinyBob. I've linked it to the PPT as well, so you can take a look at it when you're free. So these are some examples of simulations. Instead of really showing a model for real, you can do it all through an iPad and an app, or a tablet and an app. So it's very good that way. So here are some of examples. I usually have a habit of documenting all my student work in a blog. So I use Tumblr and I used WordPress. So what I do is after a class happens, I take some evidences of student work, put the snapshots in the blog, and then I just document it. I put a small explanation so that even if I'm not going to teach that class after that year, I have an evidence that I can show to my next year learners so that they see and understand, okay, so this is how the activity is done. Because children really learn well with examples. They want you to show examples rather than giving an abstract idea of a certain topic. So they were learning about simple machines. And then to build a complex machine, we used a tool called AlgoDo. So this AlgoDo tool is a free tool, can be downloaded. And what it helps students do is they can create any shape that they want and assign a certain characteristic to that shape. For example, if I'm drawing a circle, I can turn that circle into a metal or a thermocol or a wooden sphere or something. So when I attach certain physical properties on that particular matter, I'm able to experiment how it reacts to force, how it reacts to push and pull and external pressure. That way, they try to develop a complex machine and see how that can solve a problem. So basically, there was a beaker with a water over here, and they're supposed to make the ball go and get into that beaker. So what kind of force is needed, what kind of materials are needed, and they were able to construct that whole machine first as a simulation, and then they try to do it for real. So that's how they were able to transfer the skill. And here you can see a student analyzing a product. So she wanted to make a mobile cover. She said, before I go ahead and make a cover, I want to analyze what an existing cover is like. What are the features of an existing mobile cover? So we use a technique called Access FM. It's just an acronym for what you see here: the aesthetics, the safety, the cost, customer, environment. Does the material have any environmental complications? When I use a material, we're very, very conscious about that. The size, what material is it, and what function does it serve? So this is one way of analyzing a product and design. And I think in your respective subjects, you can do it in a different way. This is another activity where there is a tool, there is a software, there is an online game where a certain character has to go from this location to another location, and it needs to use an inclined plane. Which object here can act as a best inclined plane? So they experimented with it, and then they also wrote their reflection. So this is an example to see how well they can reflect, because they did not know how to analyze this game. So I told them, better you take it as a problem 1, problem 2, problem 3. I know you have figured out which is the best solution, but then try to analyze each and every solution and tell me why it didn't work. That is a wonderful way of showing critical thinking. Rather than directly jumping into the solution, first try out all the solutions and tell me why it didn't work, right? So that's one example over here. And so let me just quickly check yes, I will share the PPT link. Just give me a minute. Would you want me to share the PPT link now, or should I do it after the session?
Ma'am, after the session is fine for me.
Okay. So this is like the duration of the session was 1 hour, or did they say any duration?
1 hour.
1 hour. Okay, great. So if I'm not able to cover all the tools that I have linked here, that's fine. I can again give you the PPT, and whenever you're free, please do explore. So when it comes to creative thinking, it's all about generating new ideas and concepts. Like we talked about creative, coming up with innovative solution. Or if I'm not able to completely come up with a new solution, maybe there is an existing solution and I'm trying to build on top of that. Maybe the chair concept is already invented, but then my chair will be different from the existing chair. So that is also a creative thinking. And here, what I like about this is that unexpected connections between objects and ideas, because we always think in a certain way, but then why not take two different elements and then connect them and see what kind of connection is happening there. So this is a project by Harvard. It's called Artful Thinking. What they do is they take art as a key subject and then they connect it with multiple other subjects. So it's a form of a visual thinking routine where they have reasoning, questioning and investigating, observing and describing, comparing and connecting, finding complexity, exploring viewpoints. Just like think, pair, share, or any other visible thinking routine that we use in the class, they bring in the art component to the visible thinking routines. So if you look at this site and let's say we go to compare and connecting, they start with a piece of artwork. Everything starts with a piece of artwork. So they give you a sample artwork, and from that, they'll explain how it can be used in your class and what kind of questions you can ask the students to think about that art. That way, you're making their thinking visible by using art as a medium over here. And once you have established that level of thinking, then you can bring in the subject idea and then you can plan activities based on that. So this is just to make the children understand how to think, learning how to learn, right? So they use art as a main medium over here. That's the only difference. So it's a visible thinking routine through art. You really have to, check this out because this is something different and nice, and children are naturally inclined towards doing artistic stuff and they'll definitely like it. Yes, I will definitely ensure that I will share this PPT because that's the whole point. No worries at all. All right. Then we have flexible thinking. So flexible thinking is basically, again, the thinking routines, the using art as a thing. Now in this site, you have a lot of templates like this that you can download. Those were just examples, but in this site, I found a lot of interesting templates which are downloadable. For instance, you can sort of print it out because it also comes with the description. It also comes with an example. You can print it out and have one activity designed in your classroom around this thinking routine. Design machines, media, and technology. Again, coming up with a new model. AlgoDo, this is the software I was talking about. It's available as an app. It's also available in desktop version. So you can use anything that works for you. Brainstorming and visual diagrams. So Coggle is one tool that I find very, very interesting, and I've also used it in my class. Though it says there is pricing tab here, I think 3 diagrams are private and the rest of it is public. So you don't have to really pay for this, but it helps you create really wonderful mind maps. If you already have a good mind map making tool in school, no worries. Otherwise, I personally found this very interesting. It's called Coggle. So they can make flowcharts, they can make concept maps, they can make timelines, any kind of organizational diagram, anything, hierarchical diagram, anything is possible on Coggle. So you can try this out. And then comes certain examples. Here you can see I used a tool called Taggle. We were learning about performing arts, and the teacher wanted me to use technology and integrate what they learned in music and dance. So I asked them to create word clouds. So if a new concept is taught in the dance class, something to do with a certain movement or moving style or dance style, you can ask children to visually represent using word clouds like this. So this tool helps them first type all the keywords that they understood for that concept, choose a shape, and then the keywords are all mapped on the shape. This is one fun activity you can do. And another one is to come up with innovative solution from scratch. So my student created this sketch. This is how a designer sketch looks. He's very advanced in this particular area, and he was so interested. He said, I wanted to make a cupboard, which if I open, can have multiple components coming out of it. It has to have a bed, it has to have a dresser, it has to have a lamp. So the ideas are all too big and too good and too ambitious. So we don't stop them. We don't say, oh no, that's not possible. We say it is possible, but how are you going to make it possible? So he came up with sketches like this with dimensions, height, the width of the whole thing. And then after that, he used a software called Tinkercad, which I'm also attaching. And then he made a 3D model of that whole thing. Of course, it's not possible for them to make it for real, but at least as a simulation, they're able to see how it looks in 3D view. Like a teacher said, how they made an imaginary, I think, animal, right? If I'm not wrong. No, the transport, right? They have to invent their own eco-friendly transport. Same way we did it with animals. When they had a unit on animals, they said, you know about the characteristics of different animals. You know what is the defense mechanism that animals use, the environment, the habitat, the food habits, who are the predators, who are the prey. Now you tell me what kind of animal you will design if you have to, inculcate all these characteristics. So they used a tool called Switch Zoo. In case links are not available, I've also given it a description here, so you can just type it out and find out. So that was helping them to analyze and create a new animal and list down their own characteristics. So these are interesting critical thinking skills, creative thinking skills, sorry. And we use a software called Scratch to teach them coding. And through that, they created a project that explains how shadow works. Because in how the world works, they studied about light and sound. So we told them, how does a shadow's position change as with respect to the position of the sun? So they know coding, they know they have this knowledge, and they brought it together and created a nice Scratch project where they show the movement of the sun, and then they also show the movement of the shadow. It's all completely coded by the students. And then of course, transfer skill, taking the knowledge that you have in one subject and moving it to another subject. I'm going to quickly start moving so that I'm finishing on time. I'm not going to get into the depth of these tools. I'll just quickly show the student work, and then you guys
excuse me, ma'am, the session is till 11. I just checked now. It is not till 10:30.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, so so when it comes to thinking skills, transfer is taking the knowledge that you have in one subject and applying it in the other one. So this is my favorite, that is, to make connections, to come up with new relationships and establishments. Here, there is a wonderful activity on Read, Write, Think that I found by this author called Kathy Allen Simon. So she talks about how to make text-to-text connection, text-to-self connection, and text-to-world connection. So all the related resources are over here. Now, for instance, if I'm reading a book, how am I relating that content in the book with my own personal experience, right? So immediately when you say connection, students will be like, what connection? I don't understand. How am I going to implement that connection in this subject? So she talks about 3 types of connection: text to self, text to text. I read something in this book. I did read something similar to this in the newspaper or in another book before. So that is text to text. Text to world connection. How am I really able to connect this text to the things that are happening in the world? So this is a very simple activity you can start in the class if you want to teach them how to relate to the transfer skill, and then you can take it further. And you also have gaining different perspectives. It's always not about.
Yes, ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
And Puneet here.
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm a math teacher, and I don't really understand where the transfer skills will be used for NYP kids.
Okay, so let's say you teach about area, right? Perimeter,
yes,
area, length and breadth. So what we do, what I did in MYP was we were having a logo design unit where they have to design logos for a shop or for any product. So they kind of thought, let's design a logo for my class, and the logo is going to be put on the classroom door. So if they say MYP 1 A section or B section, each section is going to have a unique logo. So in order to make the logo, they interviewed a lot of people, the students. They thought what colors we can use, what really resembles us as a class. So some of them wanted to demonstrate collaboration, that they're very strong in collaboration, and they wanted to have multiple people connecting their hands together and make the logo. But then they also need to understand for that door, what could be the ideal size of the logo. So we talk about the concept of having the dimensions of the logo. And that is when the math part came into play. Are you able to connect what I'm saying there?
So it is basically math is connecting with ICT.
Yes, because I think especially in design, without math, it's very, very difficult, because when we do the sketches, like I showed, everything comes with a dimension. They're supposed to tell me, if I'm going to make this water bottle for real, what is the actual height and width and circumference of this bottle? They're supposed to give those information, right? Okay. So it's all integrated together, and you can connect it with any particular topic. Let's say if a geography teacher is is introducing Google Maps in her class, and she's telling the students to find the distance between this place and that place, they have to know what is kilometers, right? Those units of measurement. And they have to know how to calculate the time if I have to travel from this to that. So you bring in technology, you bring in a subject, and you also get math in the picture. Have I answered your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay. So this is another site called DocsTeach, which helps students how to analyze various documents. So you have examples of each and everything. Let's say if I have to analyze a poster, you have a PDF file that shows what are the different things that the students need to do in order to analyze a poster. Because, all the time we cannot be aware of such things. We need to give them a certain template, a certain process, a certain structure. So if it is split into these many number of questions and these many number of parts, small components, like I said, making a bigger problem look small by breaking it into multiple units. This is one good way of analyzing the text or any kind of information that they are looking at. So this is document analysis, which also comes under gaining different perspectives. And learning strategies in subjects and groups. Yes, so this might also be another example. This is the site I developed when we had the PYP exhibition for grade 5. So my topic was multimedia. Different groups of students took different topic, and my group had 6 children who took multimedia as a topic, and that's something even I love to be a part of, and I said, let me be your mentor. So this is a site I've created, and that's also linked to the PPT, no worries. So I've given you an example of the TD theme, the central idea. These are all done by the students. TD theme was there, but the central idea, the lines of inquiry, the key concept, related concept, these are all picked by the students. They said that this could be applicable to multimedia even more, because that is our research area. Let's go with these lines of inquiry and central idea. And then we came up with first, what are the different types of multimedia we are going to cover? And then we thought, let's divide it into these many types. Let's talk about photography. Let's talk about typography. Let's talk about movie making, digital images, audio, video, animation. We had like 2 months to do this entire project. So for each and every type of multimedia, I gave them an activity. So when it comes to photograph, I told them to go around the campus, use the iPad, and take aesthetic photographs. I talked to them about the basics of photography. Photography is not just like taking a picture and posting it on Instagram. There are a lot of background skills that are needed to capture an ideal, proper photograph. There is perspective, there is frame, there are different types. So they learned all that. They had guest lectures. They learned how really people do professional photography in advertisements. And I've also linked all their projects over here for you to take a look at. These are the pictures taken by the students. Some of them gave a quote, some of them gave captions. So this is like a culmination of everything that they have learned from nursery till grade 5. And they just applied all of this to create such wonderful projects. What's more important is, since we have a CAS coordinator here, we also did a little bit of service action at the end of this project. What they did was they developed learning materials for a group of students in a government school. They did not have enough resources. So they went to the school, interviewed the students, and understood what kind of lessons they are having in the class. And they made these interesting infographics. We printed it out. And we also took these videos that the students have created in a pen drive. And we went to the school. we gave it to them, and we also gifted them. We did a little bit of crowdfunding in the school and took money and then brought a laptop and a couple of speakers and then gave it to them and then came back, so that they really felt so fulfilling at the end of that unit that they're able to develop something wonderful and make a difference in the society. So this
That's
is
really wonderful.
Yes, it
That's
is.
Thank you for sharing.
No
And
problem at all. And I'll give the link. It's also linked to the PPT. So if you guys want to do something similar, please, go ahead and do that. So yes, this is one thing that you can, see how students are able to transfer the skills and then make something meaningful from it.
yeah, and ma'am, we have taken from Oakridge, because I'm also from Oakridge. And this year
Okay.
also we did some crowdfunding events for MYP, for this one, for community project.
That's wonderful. That's really nice. Yes, I mean, I think this service as action, it becomes a personal project and community project in 10th,
Yes.
right? If I'm not wrong, 11th
Yeah.
and yeah, that's nice. Great. So yes, of course, the connection with the community is everything at the end of the day, right? We study so much, we learn so much so that we can give it back to the society and do something meaningful and make a difference in the world. So yes, that's always there. Thank you so much for sharing that. So this is one connection that I made in my class. When it comes to learner profile, the 10 IB learner profile, students just are tired of reflecting on the learner profile. You say, how are you caring? They'll be like, yes, I did this, so I'm caring. So what? They think that learner profile is an individualistic characteristic. It has nothing to do with what's happening in the world. So what I did was, there is this site called Times of India Student Edition. If you just type Times of India Student Edition, you'll get it. I went there. The beauty of this site is that it has news articles that can be easily understood by students, no jargons and no heavy words. So I asked them to find out an article that reflected caring. So there is one article where children saw the McDonald's had inverted their logo, M into W, for International Women's Day. So to show that, we care for women empowerment, we care for women's rights. So they were able to connect this article and give a small reflection. And that way they see that it's not only up to me to be caring. Everybody is trying their best. Everybody is, doing their best to be caring in the world. And this way you can relate any abstract concept with a real-time application and, make them reflect on the same. And compare and contrast. We have a tool called Kidspiration, which is again a tool that was purchased by the school. This is very good for early years and primary students, because it has a lot of simple tools that can be dragged and dropped and just typing. It's just drag and drop and typing and reflecting. And it also has these pre-made templates. So this is very easy to teach them how to compare and contrast 2 or 3 things together and analyze it. Again, we also make a lot of design projects. We don't just focus only on the digital design part. We also make product design. So Makey is a kit which can be brought. So Makey is a small circuit board which comes with a lot of wires and other components. You need to connect the component to your computer, interface it with your laptop, and they have a software, an online portal. So we taught the students how to program that circuit using that portal, and they tried to create some interesting projects on that as well. And that's what you're seeing in the picture over here. And also I always ensure that if students are making a product, they need to document it properly in one place. Because for me, it's a hassle to put it all in Google Drive all the time. So there is this place called Wakelet. Wakelet is a product of Microsoft. So what they do is they help you make these digital bulletin boards. For instance, I made grade 7 students do a project, and I created a board like this, and then I shared the link of the board and gave them the edit access. Now it's very, very important to make them understand that when you give edit access to all of them, they should not try and mess with other person's work. It has to be established at a very basic level in the class. It's an essential agreement that you should have. So they were asked to make an interesting machine at home to solve a problem that they are facing at home, and then take a picture or a video of that project, put it over here, and then give a description. So you can see, this child had an issue with making a mouse pad. Since it was COVID time, they couldn't even go out and get any objects or any product. So she used a small piece of cloth, decorated it with fabric paint, and then she started using it as a mouse pad, and she also reflected on it. So that way we tell them that it's possible for you to solve your own problem even without relying on people at times. So this is one example, and there are so many examples that they have uploaded over here. So platforms like Wakelet helps you organize information as teacher in one place, and also the students can take a look at what the peers have done. They will learn how to appreciate what the other person has done as well. So this is one good tool that can be used. Again, when it comes to research skills, I've given a lot of visual thinking routines and a lot of digital tools that can be used to foster information literacy. One thing is search. You need to really help them understand how to do proper search online, because I've many times seen students copying the entire question, putting it on the Google search engine and looking for a top answer, and they won't get it. So this is one portal where Google itself has given a lesson plan on how to do effective Google search. So if you can give it as a homework, if there is no time to do all this in class, you can make homeworks interesting. That's what I do, because I want to show them a lot, but there is no time because I have to finish my curriculum. There is assessment, there is feedback. So what I do is sometimes I give it as a holiday homework or on a weekend, to just have it like a fun. And when it comes to technology, they all love it. So these things can be given as homework so that simultaneously they, get equipped in the search skills. I have also given you a thinking routine toolbox over here. These are some of the thinking routines. Before we saw how art can be used as a disposition, but here it's just about main thinking routine. So depending on what kind of thinking you want to foster in your class, you go inside and then you can find a lot of templates that can be downloaded and used in the class. So this is a very good site. And survey tools do take a lot of, the feedback should be both ways, right? You have to keep knowing what students are feeling. So I do a lot of surveys in my class from time to time so that I can understand the pulse of students, just like how I pause sometimes and check if you guys are all okay here. So there are a lot of good tools in this site. I found some good free survey tools. You can use whichever suits you, but I personally use Google Form because it's very hassle-free. And I know I can have everything generated. Typeform is also good, but then it's very costly. So I did not use that. And Google Forms are really good and easy to use. Even when we had our PYP, the elections for the PYP grade investiture ceremony, we had a voting system that was done through Google Form where students' photographs were given and everybody went and voted for the person that's going to lead next. Academic integrity is very important. This is a academic honesty handbook that I created for my learners. Problem is academic honesty policies can be very, very text ridden and children won't be able to quickly understand. So we made a small handbook which looks like this, which talks about what is academic honesty, why is it important, what are the different types of misconduct, what is plagiarism, because this need to happen from a very early age. And even before the session, the academic session starts, the students should be aware of all this. So we took some resources from outside, and of course we have given credit for those. These are all free resources that were available online. And we talk about the repercussions, the effects of doing plagiarism, breach of exam regulations. What is citation? This is very important. You're telling me what the problem is, but what is the solution? How can I be academically honest and follow integrity? So we talk about citation. What are the different citation styles? Our school uses MLA citation, so we talked about how to use that, give an example. So I did not develop this from scratch. I sat and looked at multiple sources, and then I said, a few things we added on our own from our policy, and few examples we took it from the web. But then it's very easy to read. It's not like it's a big 500-page PDF that I have no problem. I have no time to look at. So kids really found it very interesting. I even made them study this document 4 to 5 pages a day and then had a small quiz in the class. So that way, they really know how to follow these things and what are the long-term repercussions of not following academic integrity. And of course, the bibliography is here. So you can take a look at it and make something similar for your school as well. So because once you make it, it's always going to be there. Once in a while, you can revise as per the policy, but for children, it's a very good tool. So there are different other tools that are here. I'm just leaving it for now since we are running out of time. I'll quickly move on and then, you can explore it when you're free. This is one of the examples that I have taken from a student portfolio where the student has put the types of materials, and then, what kind of secondary resources. So this is how they know what is primary resource and secondary resource when they do a research. And if I'm using a book, what kind of book have I used? From where did I use? How do I cite that particular source? All those things can be listed. And this is how I use Google survey form. And they have also used survey forms in their project. So before making a product, they send out a survey to a group of people and ask, which age group do you think will be suitable for the product? So this is how they analyze it. And they also look at the text feedback given. For media literacy also, I have given a lot of resources here. It talks about how children interact with media, with multimedia that they have in front of them. So there are a lot of resources over here. Now, for an example, mind maps are, very, very crucial for my subject because everything starts with brainstorming. So I use a tool called Poplet, which is a free tool, can be used as an app or also as an online tool on the web. So they love using these bubbles and they love typing inside the bubbles. They love adding pictures rather than just drawing it on a paper. So this is a good tool for mind mapping and brainstorming. And this is sketchpad.app. So I've linked these two tools over here. You can check it out when you're free. And then this is how they do research question. This is the most difficult part that I have in my class because, ma'am, how do I make questions? So they have to keep, getting the hang of it. And for the first project, it was difficult. But then for the second, they themselves came up with the research questions. So for them to critically think, these tools are really, really supportive. Now, for instance, if they're making a logo, what are the colors that are important in a logo? I can find answers in this site. How to design logo for animal hotels. So that person want to have an animal themed hotel. So how do I do that? How to make logos for animal products. So the children themselves figured out the best site, the useful site, and they attached it to all this. And then they also found answers and they documented the same. So this is how they become independent while doing research through multimedia. Let me just see if, yes, I will share the whole PPT, no worries. Once I'm done with the session or before we leave the meeting, I'll give the link of the PPT, no worries. So this is another thing where I told them to evaluate 2 websites. Can anybody explain to me, since I've been talking for a long time, what is a rubric? What is a rubric? Have you used rubric before in your classes?
The rubrics.
Yes. Anyone?
Yeah, go ahead, ma'am.
I think the rubric are the parameters on which, we are looking forward how they are followed or not.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's like a checklist, right? Basically.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Any other answers? Thank you, ma'am, for that answer.
It's the same like rubric is a parameter where the assessment and the marks, the levels can be given in criteria wise. Yes.
Thank you. So instead of saying you have scored so much out of so much, you say, where do you exactly stand? And where do you have to go? Like if I'm here at this point in the rubric, but I need to achieve that in order to acquire full marks. So the children really know what is the feedback. And rubrics, it's not only used for evaluating students or performance of a person. It can also be used to evaluate the performance of an entity like a website. So I asked students to look at 2-3 websites and see how they can evaluate the website. So sometimes developing a rubric on their own is also a wonderful skill. But then since it's a little advanced, first they need to understand what is rubric and what are the explanation, what are the expectation that is there in each and every level. And then you can ask them to create their own rubric. And this is one activity that I did. After doing this, they made their own website and they ensured that these issues were not present in their website. Right? So that way they know what could be the challenges and weaknesses. Self-management skills. This is again very important. Now we used a classroom management tool called Edmodo. I don't know if many schools do use. In case you haven't started, it's a free tool. It connects teachers, students, and parents together. So we post assignments, we post homeworks, we conduct formative assessments, quiz, everything on this one place. All the resources related to the lesson, everything happens on Edmodo. It's like a digital classroom for us. And that way students learned how to organize their resources properly in one place. And then productive and effective use of technology. I currently work for a HR department. I'm no longer teaching, but then I have found this tool called Notion very, very useful, because it's another workflow management tool which I'm using it with my team, where every day, whatever they do, they are able to map it on the calendar and give me the progress of that day's work. Now, if you go to templates over here in Notion tool, you can see that it's used for different areas, different fields. But when it comes to a student work, it can be used to maintain class notes. It's just like Microsoft OneNote. If you have OneNote, there is no problem. This I loved because it's very simple. The interface is very, very clean and neat, just like a Google search page. And you can attach materials. You can have everything logged like this. And you can have tags attached to the resources that you have. And you have calendar, you have database, you have Google Drive integration, everything is there in one place. So it's really, really powerful in the background. But then when you look at it like this, it looks very plain. So if you want, you can try it out. With I've not used it in school before, but then you can look at these examples and see how best you can use it. Now, what I do with my team is that, they have a page like this in which I have a general monthly calendar over here. And then to each and every person's page I go. So you can create sub pages. You can have your own calendar. And for each calendar, you can give the end of the day updates. This is how I use it. But then as a teacher, as a facilitator, you can do it in any way you want. Any kind of integration is possible. You can have audio, you can have video, you can have Excel, you have attachment, everything is fine. So it creates a page inside a page, and then it has it like a workflow management tool as well as a portfolio management tool. This is just one example that I'm just giving. And then organizing information properly. So we really missed having notice boards when we had to stay at home during the lockdown and do virtual classes. So what we did was we created a virtual notice board on this tool called Miro. So basically you can create virtual notice boards. It's like how you sit in front of your table and have a board in front of you and say to-dos for today, have a motivational quote on this end, and then have some pictures here and there. So this is just like having that board online. So if you want to use this online notice board or bulletin board, you can use Miro as a very good tool. Yeah, so this is how Edmodo looks. And I'm just giving you a screenshot of the task here. The biggest challenge that I faced, all of us do face, is the face-to-face interaction that we have with students. Now, when you're sitting in a remote location and you want to make them understand what the task is about, I really felt it difficult by giving them text-based instruction. So what I did was I made a YouTube video. Like I just recorded my screen, my voice, and then I was just recording it, showing what they're supposed to do on that day, as if I'm sitting there and explaining it to them. I also gave answers for the possible doubts they might have. So all that, that entire video was up to like 5 minutes max. I put it on my YouTube channel. I shared the link over here. So that's step one. Step two, this is the site you need to go and finish the project assigned to you, because I was teaching digital design. So for me, most of the work was online. When it comes to your subject, it depends on how you want to make them do that. You can even do an example, click a picture and share it and say, this is how it's supposed to look. And then I also ensure that I get feedback. Every class requires feedback, especially when it's virtual learning, because we don't know what's happening in the other end. So I make them go and type their problems and issues that they are facing in that particular activity. And then finally, they join me on the video call. So while doing the activity, it's like a bit of an asynchronous class or a combination of both, hybrid learning. They were also talking to me and they were also doing the work. That way, the confusion got drastically reduced. They did not have any doubts. They did not know what to do, because they pretty much have everything all. I would say, go back and look at the video again. It saves even your time, because you've given everything clearly in the video, and all they need to do is just listen to the video and do the work. And I also had made them do a podcast. Podcasts are very powerful tools, because it's not about sitting and writing something. It's just recording your own voice and just recording your understanding.
Welcome to the
so this is an
special
example
podcast created by grade 8 students from Oakridge International School. You'll be able to know more about the evolution and the application of automation systems after listening to this podcast. So over to them. Here is the first podcast by Misha from 8B. This is Misha from Oakridge International School discussing the role of automation in the COVID-19 pandemic on 13th April 2020.
So, these days, if we go to the news sites, in few sites, like I think Economist and all, you see the article present and you also have the audio recording of the article. So they try to differentiate and cater to the needs of multiple, readers with multiple learning styles and readers with disabilities. So what we thought was, why shouldn't we record our understanding through a podcast? And it's also another way of harnessing the effect of technology. And you can also have podcasts as a separate standalone project in your class and make students record their understanding for a change instead of giving them the usual textbook way of assessments. So this is one interesting example. And this is how the class looks. We mostly give them group work. So here there you can see them working with wires and sensors and breadboards. They're doing an Arduino project where they have to sit together, understand if something breaks in the wire, then the other person would say, let's go get another one. Another one say, no, let's try again. So this is how they know how to collaboratively work and solve problems in a team. And they know that doing it alone would be a little difficult. Here is another tool called Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle is a tool which will help you to have videos. You can take these videos from YouTube or upload it on your own, and you can embed questions in between the video. So if I'm watching the video, at 2 minutes or something, there would be a question that pops up and you can attach the question over there. It could be a multiple choice, text-based question, or true or false. So as you attach those questions at different points, the children cannot actually skip the video or go further without answering the question. That condition is also there. So I used this for a certain activity, and they were able to learn the concepts better. All the answers get saved at the backend, and you can export it, and you can also do some assessments and corrections from your end as well. Then comes the self-management. This is less talked about, the affective skill, but very, very crucial. We did have a student counselor. All of us do have student counselors in class, and we try to make interactions with the counselor a lot happen, because this pandemic has really made us feel isolated. So mindfulness is very, very important. I've connected a lot of good apps that can be used for these mind-body connections, but most importantly, I really feel that having constant interaction with the student beyond academics and talking about their day-to-day things, giving them the space to share things is very important as teachers. So apart from that, these apps can be very helpful. As a teacher, I use an app called Calm, which even helps me. So it's like, you have all these techniques for meditation, sleep music, nature sounds and stuff like that, which will help you to just calm down for a bit and relax and renew your energy. So I've connected those things as well to this particular page, so you can use and see how it works in your class. This is another example of a book review because it talks about senses and mindfulness. There is this book called The Genius of Leonardo da Vinci, which talks about the childhood of Da Vinci, how he became a polymath, because he's good at everything. He's good at art, he's good at design, he's good at math, he's good at making music. So it talks about how he had this studio, his art studio, what kind of things he had in the studio. It's a very nice illustrated picture book. And I told students to give this activity to just relax and read. It was a reading for pleasure, and then come up with some interesting review that they found from the book. Another thing is the reflection. Reflection is very, very important part of the ATL skills. And there are different types of reflection strategies you can use in the class. And I have attached those things here as well. This is a screenshot of a tool called Peer Deck that I've used in the class. So I do take surveys on Google Forms, but sometimes even I get bored and I see, let's do something challenging. And I had this add-on called Peer Deck. It's an add-on which can be downloaded from the Google add-ons if you go at the top. And it has a lot of templates. The template that I took I just renamed it into Taking the Pulse, and I did some changes in the text and in the options. So I want to know if they really enjoy design classes. what I should improve as a teacher. And I told them to be very, very open, and it's anonymous, so they need not worry about what kind of things they're writing. So I got the understanding that they found the portfolio work a little hectic, but other than that, it was mostly good. So do take feedback like this constantly using different tools. So these are some of the snapshots from the design portfolio of the students. Here, the student is having an existing product. He has made a 3D product and he is evaluating how this is different from the existing product. This is just one example that shows. Again, communication, very, very important, how to effectively communicate. So it talks about intercultural understanding, which is very important. We talk about international mindedness in IB a lot, but are we communicating properly? Are we having bias? Are we having prejudice? What we write can be taken in different way. So how to ensure that it doesn't offend a group of people based on race or ethnicity or the caste or creed. So that talks about intercultural understanding, and a lot of resources related to that is linked over here. And all the other sub skills or sub factors that comes under communication skills, along with the technology that can be used, is mapped over here. Social skills, again, to work effectively with others, collaborate properly, respect each other's ideas, build and develop relationships, how to be an effective team player and a leader in a group, decision making. There are some reading resources as well as some technology tools that you can get from this page. So basically, when it's like the first day of school in that particular year, I want them to get to know each other properly. And of course, I do some icebreaker activities in the class, but since we're talking about tech integration, I did, I used Padlet, and then I taught them an app called Bunzi. So Bunzi is very nice. It's not like your regular PowerPoint. It comes with a lot of colorful graphics and text and animations, which are all integrated. So if I want to express myself, this was really a hit even among all students from all grades. They don't find it very childish or anything, because depending on what they like, they try to decorate their page and they try to put it over here for everybody to see, and then that helped them to collaborate in a very creative manner and get to know about each other in the class. So this is one way of doing that. And this is, again, knowing your rights are very, very important. And when it comes to this collaboration skills, the rights and need is an important part. And children have made a poster on child rights after going to the UN site and understanding the different things that they do on this. School connects are very, very important. Before, we used to have Skype in classroom activities hosted by Microsoft, but now they have suspended that, and they use a tool called Flipgrid. So we used to connect with students outside India just to know what is happening there, what kind of lessons they are learning, how is India, how is the weather. So we have this informal conversation. This is happening with some school in Russia. And then, just that connection itself is great. And once you establish the connection, you also can start sharing lessons and resources. So this was also another way of connecting with, students outside the country. And these are some of the examples where they make posters and everything. So this is where I asked them to create a newspaper poster. So they read a newspaper. So making them read newspaper is sometimes really hectic. So what I do is I give them a project. You take this newspaper today, pick your favorite category in the newspaper. Some of you like sports, some of you like entertainment. Get the highlight news from there, and then you make another paper out of it on a chart. And you need to talk about what that issue is and what did you understand from that issue and what could be the solution for that issue. So this also made them come together, work on a project like this, and then communicate to the class effectively. And many ATL skills are involved in this inherently. And since we had students from different parts of the country, every week once we asked them to make a PPT on their hometown. So they come and talk very, very interestingly about the culture, because India being such a beautiful country with diverse cultures, we just had this content coming from the students, and they learn to appreciate diversities through that. Then you have communication skills, how to read, write effectively and understand language, how to critically take notes, how to comprehend text. This is one PPT template that I have attached here. When I say ATL skills, just like that, I really found that children found it really boring. So I thought, why don't I give you an activity where I explain what the ATL skills is, because sometimes students just know what ATL is. This is the first time you're introducing it to them. So you explain them what is the ATL and ask them to explain one situation where they use that skill in their life. They must have used it. All that they need to do is recollect and connect. So I gave them this template. I explained what it is, and then I asked them to connect it. And they just loved, showing what they've done earlier. How did they connect? So this guy got an award, a medal, a badge for a handwriting Olympiad, and he connected it with social group, and he's justifying to say that this is how I applied this ATL skill. So personal connections can really help students understand, these skills really better and the seriousness of it. I did try the same with the IB learner profile, where I told them to pick up the role models for each and every learner profile, like thinker, caring. And this child did a wonderful job of connecting her own family members. So, she so graciously connected me with communicator and some of her favorite film stars, her mother, uncle, aunt. So this is a great way of looking at humans and how well they can connect these things to IB learner profile and see that these are the things that we need to have. So I want to just quickly show you one last video of how I have integrated ATL skills and created a small project before I wind up. So let me quickly show the video, and then after that, we can have a quick discussion and finish off. So I'll just give you a heads up here. Sorry. This is a design, food design project. We did it with grade 8 students. I told them to design, cook something and make a food design on a piece of, on a plate, and then present it to their parents and get the feedback. So they are learning product design, digital design. So food design is a part of product design. So I'm just going to show you how it all happened in the virtual classroom setup. So yeah.
Hello kids, hope you're all doing fine and staying safe. This is your design teacher, Ms. Tamar. I'll be explaining in short the food design assignment. So as designers, you have tried creating electronic products, you have tried creating sustainable products, but this is somewhere you can try and innovate in, in food materials. A simple plating of a food is also a form of decorative design, that has a lot of value, and it will make people want to eat your food. If the presentation is not good, but the food is really tasty, nobody would even, have the first thought of having a first bite of it. So please understand the objective of this engagement, for you to understand how to prepare a meal. Okay. Can anyone tell me who this person is?
Heston Blumenthal.
Awesome. Who's he? Who's Heston Blumenthal?
In Britain.
He's a famous celebrity chef in Britain, and he's very famous for his unique ways of, creating food.
I've roasted the onion, and you can see on the top of the onions is slightly brownish. That means the outside has roast.
Hi, my name is Nora, and I'm going to be decorating a panna cotta. Because some people may not want the mango on top, so you put the mango on the side. And then you take some blueberries. And in the center, we're going to add an after it. All you have to do is plop it down in the center just like that, and there you have it, your dish for this panna cotta. Vanilla panna cotta with fruits in the side and chocolate in the middle.
Yeah, ma'am. So this is a kulfi, malai kulfi, and I put grated almonds and cashews on top of it.
So like I mentioned, we made a vegetable cutlet instead of a usual patties that people would just take out of the fridge and chuck on the pan and then fry it and put it into a burger. So So that kind of increases its nutritional value. And
so I made a burrito. We make it often because everyone loves it. It's actually pretty simple, and because we made everything at home.
So after you've blended the ice creams, you can put it in your whatever container you want to use. I just used a simple round glass, and then you have to put that in the freezer to so that it doesn't melt away. And while you do that, you're supposed to melt some separate piece of chocolate, and then you create these big chocolate pieces. And then once they freeze, you just add them in however way you want, and then grate some chocolate on top.
Basically, I made a pizza with the dough, and I didn't have yeast, so I had to improvise. So I used corn and soda. So usually for pizza, you require some kind of creamy binding agent, and I didn't have that. So I decided to use yogurt instead to make it healthier.
So yeah, so that's one project where we saw everybody using ATL skills left, right, center, and when they reflected, even they said that we didn't expect that we would need this skill for this problem or in this situation, and the learners were able to do that. So that brings us to the end of the session. I'm sorry I'm not able to show you all the tools one by one, but I think I'll share the link of this PPT and you can all take a look at it when you're free. I really hope you found this session useful and you find all these tools useful. And if there is anything that you want to share, please go ahead. And thank you so much for your patience and interaction and for keeping this session live.